ladies and gentlemen, you need this kind of information, like for real. If you plan to build very soon, or you plan to build at any point in your life, or maybe you are associated with somebody that is maybe planning to build very soon, you literally need this kind of information. You need to have this information, because if you don't, you might be surprised that by the time you finish building your house, you'll have built it twice. One for you, and one for another person that you actually might know or might not know.
What the hell? Help us, God!
Okay, so you need to have this information. Hi guys, I'm DaWinÂi. I bring to you information that is centered around architecture, engineering, construction, and entrepreneurship. So if you are new on this channel, please subscribe to my channel. I promise I'll always bringing you great content centered around those three pillars: architecture, engineering, construction, and entrepreneurship. So today I bring to you phase 2 of building our 4-bedroom house. Remember, I told you we are going to build this house together from scratch up to when it's complete. In the first phase, we discussed the bills of quantities of building it from the foundation up to the wall plate, and in this phase we are going to do both the roofing. We are going to do phase 2 and 3. We are building it from the roofing, and then we're also going to do the finishes. Okay, so please stick around. I believe that you'll be blessed with this information.
Where are you? Here.
Man, the man is killing us, man.
Over.
Bless the bomb over.
So we're going to dive right into it. But before we go in, I read one of the comments. I read some of the comments, and one of you was requesting me to give you to explain more what requirements that your plan should have so that they can be approved by the local authorities. So I'm going to address that. So please stick around up to the end of the video. I'm going to show you what your plans should look like and what your building plan should have for them to easily be approved by the local authorities. Okay. Before we proceed very far, I want to first make this clear.
Drop the bomb, man.
That the quality of work that we're considering for this project specifically is neither cheap and nor expensive. So this is for somebody who is planning to build a house, this very 4-bedroom house, or any other 4-bedroom house that is probably similar to this one, that has a budget, that is not looking for something that is very expensive materials and stuff, and they're also not looking for cheap work, you know. So this is basically for the common man, for the average man. Okay, so we are going to I remember I had promised to tell you guys at the end of every stage to give you something, to give you a tip, those who plan to build in phases, to know where you can take a break from the construction and where you can't. Remember where we are right now, we've reached the wall plate. If you want to really be safe, and if you've worked for your money really hard, don't pause at this stage. Don't pause at the wall plate, because by the time you return to do the roofing, you'll find if it's a rainy season, it will not be good news for you. You'll find most of the mortar has been ripped off, and a lot of brickwork has been damaged. You know, a lot of things really happen when you leave the structure really naked at this stage. So I would recommend that if you want to take a break from the construction, at least complete the roofing, then you can take a break. You know, you can take a 1-year break, you can take a 2-year break, you can take a 6 months break. This is really up to you. But after you've done the roofing, the building is safe for a break. Okay. So today, let's begin to discuss. For the roofing, I have we are beginning with the timber frame of the roofing. That is the truss work of the framing. Remember that when you are building in phases, it is not safe to just do the timber frame for the roof and then you pause there. Okay, it's not a safe place to take a pause or to take a break from, because when it begins to rain, when it rains on that timber, the timber is going to absorb the moisture. So most of the timber is going to get deformed. It's going to warp, So it's going to affect the accuracy of your roof, A lot of you have seen this from your doors, maybe the doors that you have at your home. It's very important for timber to have a very stable moisture condition. If you've chosen to put timber in a dry environment, let it be in a dry environment. If you've chosen to put it in a wet environment, let it be in a wet environment. But the point of timber gaining and losing moisture is very dangerous, because it causes the timber to warp, I talked about the doors. If you get the doors from the carpenter before they have where they use timber that had not yet dried, that had not yet reached a stable moisture condition, you'll find this timber ending up losing moisture while you've already installed the doors, and the doors begin to warp, So you find the door does not exactly fit in its frame, and you don't want to have that with your roof, okay? So when you're going to do the roof, first be sure that you have the money for the complete roofing, okay? Make sure you can do the timber frame and then put the iron sheets as well, and save yourself from that big loss of losing money by just, for the roof, for this roof specifically, we're going to discuss it like this. We're going to discuss what timber that we will need, and the quantities of that timber that we are going to need. Remember, I'm also including the timber work for the ceiling. We are planning to have a timber ceiling, timber and expanded lathing metal and a bit of plaster, a bit of grout. That kind of a ceiling is what we are going to have. So for expanded lathing metal, we are going to need 6 rolls, each at 38,000, which brings it to 228,000. We are going to need 3x2 timber pieces, 240 pieces each at 4,500 shillings, which brings it 1,080,000. And then we'll need 4x2 timber, 320 pieces each at 5,500 shillings, which brings it to 1.76 million. Then we'll need 4x3 timber, 45 pieces each at 7,500 shillings, which brings it to 337,500 shillings. Then 6x2 timber, we'll need 60 pieces each at 7,500, which brings it to a total of 450,000 shillings. Timber ceiling, the timber for the ceiling, we will need 220 pieces each at 5,000 shillings, which brings it to 1.1 million. Then now let's talk about the nails. The nails, we need 6-inch nails, 30 kilograms each at 5,000 shillings, bringing the total to 150,000 shillings. 5-inch nails, 45 kilograms, each at 5,000 shillings, bringing it to 225,000 shillings. 4-inch nails, we will need 80 kilograms, each at 5,000 shillings, bringing the total to 500,000 shillings. Then we'll need roofing nails. Roofing nails, we will need 35 kilograms, each at 6,000 shillings, bringing the total to 210,000 shillings. Then you will need anti-termite treatment. This is the treatment that you provide to the timber to prevent it from being eaten by termites, So we'll need 2 tins, each at 70,000 shillings, bringing the total to 140,000 shillings. Then for iron sheets, we are using Super Eco. We budgeted for Super Eco iron sheets, and we need about 135 pieces. If you get them from the factory, it could be around 40,000 shillings. So that brings it to 5.4 million shillings. We'll need ridges, 70 pieces each at 18,000 shillings, bring the total to 1.26 million. Then valleys, we will need 32 pieces, each at 25,000 shillings, making it 800,000 shillings. Then we need rubber washers. Rubber washers, we'll need 12 packets, each packet at 10,000 shillings, okay? That brings it to 120,000 shillings. Then hoop iron, you will need 3 rolls, each at 35,000 shillings, which brings the total to 105,000 shillings. So for the materials for the roof, When I talk about the roof, I mean the roof, including the iron sheets and including the timber work for the ceiling. The materials we need is 14.5 million 55,500 shillings. Let me repeat it. It's 14,555,500 shillings. Okay. So we are going now to talk about the internal plastering and the ceiling work. Okay. Remember, in the ceiling we finished doing the timber work. We've already put the expanded lathing metal. Now we need to throw in the grout. The grout, that is the mixture of cement and sand, you know, to seal it off. Okay. Then including the plastering of the interior. Remember, in the interior we need some lime. Okay, we don't just mix cement. And sand. You need a smoother finish in the interior, so you need to add some lime. You need to add a layer of lime after you've done the plastering. So we will need 75 bags of cement for both the casting the grout of the ceiling and the interior plastering. 75 bags of cement, each at 29,000 shillings, which brings the total to 2,175,000 shillings. Plaster sand, we will need 12 forward trips, each at 200,000 shillings, which makes it 2.4 million shillings. Then lake sand, we will need 8 forward trips, each at 250,000 shillings, making it a total of 2 million shillings. Then lime, we'll need 5 bags of lime. Each bag of lime should be at 18,000 shillings, bringing the total to 90,000 shillings. Okay, so the total for internal plastering and the ceiling is 6.6 million 65,000 shillings. I repeat, 6,665,000 shillings. That is in Uganda shillings. Okay. External plastering. External plastering, that includes, I don't think I need to describe that one that much. Apart from just that, for this house specifically, there are parts that we are going to plaster, and there are parts where we are going to apply some bit of stonework, you know, to give it a nicer finish, you know. But of course, if you don't have that much money, you can replace some stonework with rough plaster finish, you know. There are guys who can do that well. So for external plastering, we need 55 bags of cement, each at 29,000 shillings, bringing our total to 1.5 million 95,000 shillings. Then for plaster sand, we need 10 forward trips, each at 200,000 shillings, which makes the total to 2 million shillings. Lake sand, we need 10 forward trips, each at 250,000 shillings, bringing the total to 2.5 million. And then stonework for this house, we have 15 square meters. And then for the stone that you specifically saw in the video, is about 50,000 shillings per square meter, which brings the total to 750,000 shillings. Remember, all these, I'm not including the transportation for delivering these materials to site, and also does not include labor, the costs of labor. Okay, so we are only discussing materials. So for external plastering, it brings us to a total of 6,845,000 shillings. Okay. Now for the subtotal, I'm going to give you the total from now. Remember, we already did the foundation, we already did the ground slab. Okay, so we have completed the roofing as well. We've completed the plastering as well, both the internal and the finishing, and we've already finished casting the ceiling as well. So the total for materials alone is now at 74,030,500 shillings. I think it's fair for this size of a house, really. It should be fair, but we're not yet done. We still have a long way to go. We still have to do electrical fittings. You still have to do plumbing fittings. Okay, we still have to fit in the windows. We still have to do the painting, the paint work. You know, there's still work to do. But now where we are standing at, you already have the shell of your house that is already plastered, and you have it at 74,030,500 shillings. Okay. At this stage of the building, you can take a break. Feel free to take a break. Nothing is going to really get spoiled by you leaving the building at this stage. You could leave it for a year or two, but you know, it's very safe at this stage to leave it. So I promised to address the issue of this was Emmanuel. I think it was Emmanuel. Emmanuel who requested that I should help him understand what requirements the local authorities require for the plans to be approved, and that is very important, by the way, because I've seen a lot of people having to hassle so much at the local authorities, at the district, that their plans have not been approved. They're saying the plans are missing this, the plans are missing this, but today I'm going to give them to you. For residential areas, first of all, before you submit your plans, they should be printed on blueprints, on A1 blueprints, and they should be stamped by a registered architect. If it's a storied building, you require both architecture drawings and structure drawings. The architecture drawings are basically the plans. They're showing the plan, the planning of the spaces, and they're showing the elevations, and they're showing the sections of, and then the structure drawings are going to show the structure elements of the building, the columns, the slabs, the foundation, the beams, the steel bars, the reinforcement arrangement, the type of concrete, the mixes. That is what the structure drawings give. But if you're only building a bungalow, you only need the architecture drawings. Okay, so for architecture drawings, which we usually call plans, you will need them to be printed on blue on A1, and they have to be stamped by a registered architect. Okay, then the other thing that you need to know is that you need to leave a distance of 1.5 meters from your building to the boundary line. Okay, at first I used to actually, many clients don't want to, they feel like they are wasting space. I mean, how can I leave a whole 1.5 meters? I could use something for it. Now, it's basically to enable you to have that internal circulation within your plot. Okay, and then the other reason for leaving that 1.5 meter is because let's say your neighbor is now going to do maybe a bigger building, and they're going to do deep excavations. Okay, so if your building is very close to the boundary line and they're doing deep excavations in the neighborhood, that can affect your foundation, by the way. Even the vibrations from the machinery, when someone is building your neighborhood, they could be of great damage to your building. So these distances are not just for regulations, but they help you a lot as well. You need to leave 1.5 meters from the boundary wall to your house. Then those plans are supposed to show the location of the sanitary facilities. Where is the septic tank going to be? Okay, what are the details? They need to see the drawings of the septic tank. Okay, they need to see the boundary wall, because even boundary walls have restrictions. There is a certain height to which you can't build your boundary wall beyond. Okay, you can't build a boundary wall that is, unless you are for boundary walls, you need to leave, there is a certain height that boundary walls should be. They also need to check on that. You won't just come and build a 4-meter boundary wall. The local authorities will be asking, what are you doing inside there that you don't want anyone to see? Okay, so they need to see the details of the boundary wall. They need to see the details of the sanitary facilities. Where is the septic tank? Where is the sock pit? Things like that. Then they need also the site location plan, because they need to know if they want to access the site when you start building. They need to be able to come over there. Okay, and then the other thing they need, if you are building in an area that is, you need to show the physical features that are around there. Is there an existing sewer that maybe you're going to connect to instead of having a septic tank? Is there an existing road that you're building next to? What is the road reserve? Okay, different roads have different road reserves. For example, there are these just small access roads within residential areas, and the road reserve they are not really that strict on the road reserve. Okay, but then there are roads that are on the national road plan, and maybe they plan to expand the road, and maybe the Uganda National Roads Authority has put there a certain reserve within which you cannot build a permanent structure. Okay, there are things like that basically. Then existing features, I've talked about that. Sanitary facilities, I've talked about that. Basically, that's what you need. Okay, for that, I think I think I've addressed it. If this video has added something to you, if you've learned from this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'll appreciate that. And please remember to subscribe so that you keep getting more and more of this content. We still have more phases to go to complete this building. If you don't want to miss more, please hit the notifications bell and also subscribe. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good time. Thank you.